Morning, students, and welcome to our English B class. I'm your teacher, Miss Mason.
Good morning, students. My name is Miss Darcy George.
And I'm Miss Grace Hudson. Today's topic will be one that is engaging and exciting.
We'll be talking about identifying the theme. Let's start with a simple exercise to give you an idea on how to identify the theme. Now listen closely, students. What you're going to do is look at this comic strip and think about what you believe is the theme. Observe what is going on and we will come back and share. You have 10 seconds to do so. All right, students, I know most of you are bubbling over with ideas, but some of you are asking in the chat, how in the world am I going to suggest what the theme is from this simple comic strip that tells a very short story? Here is where you answer 3 questions. What do the characters say? What do the characters do? And how does the comic strip end? Sally, unmute your mic. Let's hear your answer for the first one. Miss, the girl is stressed about her homework and the guy tells her to watch the sunset. Then she said she needed that. Very good. Richard, the next answer.
Miss, she was sad and complaining to her friend. Then they watched the sunset together, and after she was happy.
Great answer. Angeli, you next. Miss, it ended with a girl who was stressed at the beginning, saying she needed that, as if she was, relieved. Excellent. So, could anyone say what the theme of the comic strip is?
Miss Nature?
Good answer, Sean, but that would be the topic. Class, I want you to write down in your books that the theme is not a topic. It is a statement that you make after being exposed to a concept. The topic helps you to formulate the theme. So the topic here would be nature. What do you think the theme would be now? Try again, Sean.
Oh, miss, observing nature helps you relax.
Great job. And this concludes your first exercise.
Today, our lesson is based on poetry analysis. Who remembers the mnemonic device we refer to for recalling the elements of poetry analysis?
Miss is stiff.
That is correct, Kavish. The stiff approach. S stands for the subject matter or situation. T for the theme. I for imagery. F stands for form. And the second F stands for feeling. At our last session, we examined the S in the stiff approach, but today our focus will be on the T, which is the theme. I have already posted an anchor chart in the Google Classroom, which I'm going to screen share with you now so that we can explore the theme together. Let us begin with a definition. The theme is the central or underlying idea in a poem. What this means is that a poet selects a topic and reflects on it by saying what he or she thinks or feels about it. The poet devises a creative way to share those ideas with readers. Let us look at some of the features of the theme. The theme is not usually stated directly, so you have to use clues from the poem to infer the theme. Some of those clues would be the title of the poem, the setting of the poem, and the background of the poet. You can also look at things the characters in the poem say and do to gather clues, like you just did when you examined the comic strip with Miss Grace. Another important feature is that the theme of the poem is a universal message or lesson. This means that it is not a message that is limited to or specific to the poem being analyzed. It could be applied to life generally. One exceptionally important thing you should remember about the theme is that it is not the subject or the topic of the poem. At our last class, we looked at the poem If We Must Die by Claude McKay. And we had such a vibrant discussion about the content of that poem that I know you still remember it. I want you to think about that poem, then type in the chat what you believe the theme is. I see some interesting responses here. Let us examine some of them. Aiden says, this poem is about death. That's a good attempt, Aiden, but remember that the theme is different from the topic. You can use the topic as a clue to infer the theme. Also, the theme is not what the poem is about. That would be the subject. Always remember that the subject and the theme are different elements of the poem. Janvi says, African Americans must fight against the oppressive white supremacists. Nice job, Janvi. You try to dig deeper, and that is what poetry analysis is about. Your statement is true, but for this specific poem, you have to extract a message that can be applied universally, that is, anywhere in the world and to life generally. Malik says, fight for what you believe in and never give up, even though the odds may be slim. Excellent work, Malik. This is not a topic, but a statement, one which anybody in the world can apply to their life. This is a theme.
Alright, class. Before we begin listening to the audio for the poem Invictus by William Ernest Henley, I'd be telling you a little about William Henley. Okay? So, William Henley was born in Gloucester, England. He was a poet, an editor, and a critic. Henley was educated at Cribb Grammar School, where he studied with the poet T.E. Browne, and he attended the University of St. Andrews. His father was a struggling bookseller who died when Henley was a teenager. So at the age of 12, Henley was diagnosed with tubercular arthritis that necessitated the amputation of one of his legs, just below the knee. The other foot was saved only through a radical surgery. As he healed in the infirmary in the year 1875, he began to write poems, and one of such poems included Invictus, the one that we are going to talk about today. Okay? So, please pay very keen attention to the audio, as there is an activity that we'd have to complete at the end. However, we will be making a comparison to the great and late Nelson Mandela to William Henley. So, you will pay keen attention to it, and for those of you who do not know the great late Mr. Nelson Mandela, I'll be giving you a brief history of him, okay?
Almost 150 years ago, in 1875, the late Victorian poet William Ernest Henley, born in Gloucester, England, wrote the following while suffering from recurring illness. The poem has ever since inspired courage and strength in hearts. Invictus by William Ernest Henley. out of the night that covers me. Black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeoning of chance, my head is bloody, but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how strait the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
Okay, so now that we are through listening to the audio of the poem Invictus, we will now compare the situations, that of William Ernest Henley to Nelson Mandela. Okay? You will be typing in the chat, or when I call your name, you'll unmute your mic and you'll give me your answer. Okay, I will share my screen and we will complete the chart. Good. So my first question, in what year did William Henley write the poem Invictus? Anyone can answer this one. Lovely. I see Aiden was paying attention. That's correct. It's the year 1875. Question 2 is directed to Mia. Mia, from what year to what year was Nelson Mandela incarcerated? Yes, it is from the year 1962 to 1990. I see you've done your homework on him. It's as though he's like a role model to you. I mean, which he should be. Yes. Yes, Malik. Share with us the problem faced by William Henley. That's correct. His leg was amputated and he had to struggle to get accustomed to that. Yes, that's correct. So, Jean-V, what problem was Nelson Mandela faced with? Yes, apartheid. So now, Aiden, I want you to put yourself in Henley's place, right? Had you lost a limb or a leg, okay? What kind of pain would you have felt? Let's hear it from your perspective. Okay, you're looking at physical disability because, I mean, this is something that's new to you, okay? That you've just lost a leg. And I mean, for most of your life you had it, and now you have to cope without it. Yes, so Henley would have had challenges that would lead up to this event of him being physically challenged. But in some way or the other, he had to overcome those challenges. Okay? There was also his physical exhaustion, right? Because he can't do the work that he once did. I mean, as in like move around as freely as he used to, because now remember his one leg is amputated. Okay? So now let's put ourselves in Nelson Mandela's place. What pain would he have felt being incarcerated for so long? Okay? Yes, he was in pain of being deprived of his freedom, of his work, and everything. It's like Henley in a sense, because Henley's leg is amputated. But where Mandela is concerned, he has all of his limbs. But it's just that he is in prison and there is nothing that he can do, right? Other than face the hardships that he goes through the day and so on. So now, tell me, what solution does this poem provide for both William Henley and Nelson Mandela? I'll give you 10 seconds to come up with an answer, okay? All right. I see Jean-V is typing in the chat. And he says that Henley is provided with the strength in writing poetry. Mia is saying that There is hope that life will go on in spite of his leg being amputated. I love those answers. Yes. Oh, I see Malik is saying something about Nelson Mandela. What's that? He's saying it allows him to use the strength of his soul so as not to yield to despair. I love that. All right, everyone. Well, I stand corrected since we all know about Nelson Mandela. So, I will be asking you a few questions and you will tell me what you know about Nelson Mandela. Okay? So, let's begin. Aiden, what year was Nelson Mandela sentenced to 5 years in prison? That's correct. It's the year 1962. All right. Malik, what happened to Nelson Mandela from the year 1964 to 1982? Yes. Nelson Mandela was incarcerated at Robben Island Prison off Cape Town. Okay. I love your responses. Jean V. Did Nelson Mandela accept the offers made by the South African government? Of course. That's correct. He did not. So now that I know that you are indeed familiar with Nelson Mandela, let us proceed to the audio of the poem Invictus.
We have listened to the poem for a second time, and each celebrity who contributed to the recital was touched in some way by Invictus. You're going to do an exercise now called the thematic statement. First, I want you to select a partner to work with. Now that you've done that, you and your partner will select 3 words. These words are called the thematic triad. You can use the list of topics on the anchor chart on themes as a guide. The next step is to convert these 3 words into a sentence. This is called the thematic statement. You will begin each sentence with the word when and use the structure. When this happens, then that happens. Before you attempt, let's look at what a thematic statement for the novella Animal Farm by George Orwell might look like. The thematic triad can be greed, freedom, corruption. One possibility of the thematic statement can be when greed overtakes one's desire for freedom, it can lead to corruption. Now it's your turn to create your thematic statement.
All right, good job, everyone. I see you've come up with some very creative thematic statements. I like yours, especially Mia, where you speak of life, pain, and courage. Because when life presents you with pain and difficult circumstances, you can find courage to confront it from deep within. That's amazing. And here ends our class for today. I hope you had a good time because I learned from you and you learned from me.
We've come to the end of yet another lesson. Always remember, topics are not themes, but a topic can be utilized to formulate a thematic statement.